Hey everybody, let me see if I can get my camera to sit still. My dog's in there, she's not happy. So this video is going to be probably an emotional video. I'm going to go ahead and warn you, there might be triggers that if you deal with issues of suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideations, alcoholism, drug abuse, domestic violence, rape, things of that nature, you may either want to skip over this video, watch it in a safe place, or watch it with a safe person, someone that you trust. I'm not going to be super graphic, but I know that things trigger people, and I want you to be safe. Really quickly, I want to go over a couple of statistics about suicide. These are from the National Institute of Mental Health's website. These statistics are from 2016. I couldn't find anything any newer from 2017 because these reports and publishings take time to come out. They do the research and then they have to publish it. In 2016, there were twice as many suicides as homicides in the U.S. It's in the top 10 leading causes of death in the U.S. Suicide is 4 times more prevalent among males than it is females. Since 1999, suicide rates have increased 28%. Currently, firearms are the most common method used among males, and poisoning, including prescription medication, is the most common method in females, followed directly by firearms. This is personal speculation of why people choose firearms over pills, because it's final most of the time. You take a bunch of pills, somebody finds you, you can get your stomach pumped. Most of the times, a suicide by firearm is final. I speak to you today from someone who has lost a close friend to suicide, from someone who has dealt with suicidal ideations, and from someone who has had multiple friends recently divulge that they have either dealt with suicidal ideations, suicidal actions, or suicidal attempts. I want to throw you another statistic out there, or a couple of statistics. This is just from an article in Psychology Today, and it's saying 6 reasons why someone might commit suicide. Depression. This can be clinical depression, including bipolar depression. This can just be depression like you lost a job depression, but depression. Psychosis. Psychosis that can be you just have psychosis, or that can be medicinally triggered psychosis. There are medications that can actually trigger psychotic episodes. So someone that might not have previously ever had any sort of issues with suicide, that's why there are warning labels on certain medications. If you begin having thoughts of suicide, contact your doctor immediately and stop taking this medication. Impulsivity related to drugs and alcohol. So someone who might have had suicidal ideations but never would have followed through, you put drugs and alcohol into the mix, they get impulsive, they follow through. A cry for help. And I know a lot of people say that's crap, and to them I say, shut up. A cry for help is a cry for help, no matter the form it comes in. There are people that have not been educated on mental health awareness, suicide awareness, and the fact that they can talk to somebody. There are people that are raised to suppress their feelings, and they have no other way to ask for help than to really ask. There are also philosophical reasons why people might take their own life. For example, someone with a terminal illness. I remember speaking years ago to my Aunt Hun Hun, who we lost to her battle with cancer. I actually wrote a paper with her permission. I used her as example in there on Right to Die. And she said that when it got to that point, she would love to have the availability to just take some medicine and just go to sleep. And it not, it not be her killing herself. It just be her medically releasing herself. So there are philosophical reasons why people might choose to end their life. And then there are people who make a mistake. There are a rash of young people who are doing this oxygen deprivation thing, strangulation to get high, bags over their faces, whatever. You take it a second or two too long and it's too long. Or in the case of accidental overdose. Going back to impulsivity related to drugs and alcohol, I can speak to you on this from a very, very personal place. Not many people know that I have been sober for 9 months now. And before January, I spent 2.5 years living in a bottle or out of a bottle, however one would say that. And there were times in my drunken stupor that I did and said things that I never would have done or said sober. And people say, well, alcohol is the truth serum. Maybe a little bit of alcohol is a truth serum, but too much alcohol screws with your brain, jacks it up, fries it, messes it up. So there were things that I would do and say that I would never have done sober. So when you have someone that already sober toys with the idea of suicide and you throw that in there, it's just like taking somebody and just shoving them over a ledge. I also struggled for years with depression and anxiety. I'm not saying I don't still struggle, but I see a doctor. I talk to the good Lord about it. I have friends. I have family. I have a network. Don't think going to a doctor is a weakness. Don't think talking to people is a weakness. We'll read a couple of alcohol statistics from the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, and these studies are from 2015. 88,000 deaths from alcohol-related causes happen every year in the U.S., and it's the third leading preventable cause of death in the U.S. Daily, nearly 30 people die in motor vehicle accidents per the CDC, which comes out to something like 1 every 51 minutes. Suicide is 120 times more prevalent in alcoholics than in the general population. That goes to addicts as well. Pills, whatever your thing is. More than a third of suicide victims used alcohol just prior to their death. That's a lot of statistics. It's a lot of stuff to say. I told you a little bit about me. One day, maybe I'll share more, maybe I won't. It's a very private thing. It's a very hard thing to talk about. It's a very hard thing to open up, especially for the people like me who were moms, who were working people, who were doctors, who were nurses, who were police officers, who were teachers, who were preachers, who were fill in the blank, and you had to get up every day and you had to be that person, or night if you work night shift. It's hard to talk about it when you have to maintain that, when you have kids to take care of, when you have this to do, when you have that to be. To whoever might be watching and struggling, I would say, talk about it. Find someone and talk about it. If you're struggling with abuse or addiction, talk about it. If you're struggling with suicidal thoughts or ideations or actions or attempts, there is a crisis number. It is 1-800-273-8255, and I'll also include that in the post when I share. But I would say talk about it. If you have a pastor that you want to talk to them. If you have a friend that you trust, talk to them. Talk to a doctor, talk to a therapist, talk to whoever you have to talk to, but talk to somebody. I can say, without a doubt, people congratulate me all the time on my sobriety. It has not been easy. I did not quit on my own. The good Lord helped me through it. I had many, many people praying, many, many nights for me. Every day is a new day, and every day can bring new challenges and new difficulties. Every day is also another day that I get to say, I'm still here. If you need someone to reach out to me. I'll listen. I won't judge. I won't tell your stories. I'll listen. Because sometimes that's all someone needs, is someone to listen. So today, if you need help, reach out. Reach out to somebody.